What's going on, guys? Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Sales Mastery. My name is Mario Delgadillo, and today we're going to talk about the anatomy of change. In anywhere of in your life, guys, if you're looking to make a change, whether that be in your business, at work, relationships, there are five different components to change. Okay, number one is vision. Number two is skills. Number three is incentives. Number four is resources. And number five is action plan. So we're going to go through each one of those first and talk about kind of by definition what each of them are. Okay. So first things first, your vision, right? Or personal vision. Okay. A personal vision is a broad picture of how you want your life to be, and it's based on your values, your passions, and your long-term goals, right? So a personal vision statement can really help you to understand where you want to go. So number one is vision. Number two is skills, right? So as it pertains to our business, skills are our abilities, knowledge, and expertise that are needed to carry out specific tasks or activities effectively. So people can acquire these skills through formal education, through training, through getting in the trenches and experiences gained in different settings like, one-on-ones, phone calls. So there's a lot of different ways to acquire skills. Number two. Number three is incentives, right? So rewards, monetary and non-monetary, that are given to us to help motivate and encourage people to perform. So what type of incentives do we give you here at the agency to perform better? They can come like I said, in the form of monetary bonuses, gifts, awards, recognitions, gift cards, whatnot, increases in pay. And number four is resources, right? So what are the resources? In the context of our industry and our business, right? Any factor that is necessary to accomplish our goal or carry out an activity. In short, right, what are the components that we need in order to do our business, right? So the resources, the training, the tools, whether they be scripts, whether they be the PowerPoints that we have put together, the text message scripts, access to good training, access to good contracts. And number five is the action plan, right? So the action plan explains how you will operate and manage your business. How are you going to execute, right? Get all these activities lined up in such a way where you're actually going to execute, because that's really ultimately what it comes down to. So when it comes down to change, right? Maybe you're stuck in the mud right now, right? Maybe you're looking for a way to really just get your business kicked into high gear, right? Well, I'm going to show you guys, and we're going to go through them one by one, but I'm going to show you guys what we call the anatomy of change. And it's really cool because you're going to be able to see whenever you're trying to change, right? If somebody lacks vision, right? Okay. They actually are confused, right? That's what happens. When you lack vision, it creates confusion, right? And so when we look at, right, what is confusion, right? Confusion, as it pertains to business, right? Thinking, disorientation, thinking unclearly, thoughts that are cloudy, the inability to think of a way to solve a client's problem, right? So you might feel as if, man, I really don't understand what is going on. Typically, it's because somebody lacks that type of vision, right? Now, if somebody lacks, the skills necessary, then what happens is it creates anxiety, right? And so what do I mean by that? Let's talk about what anxiety is in business. Anxiety is an emotion that arises from uncertainty. So if you don't have the skills you need, then what's going to happen is you're going to have anxiety because you feel uncertain, right? So when you're setting up or getting into the business and maybe you still feel like you're brand new, right? You might feel anxious because you have a lack of clear view on what's going to happen next, or you can start to suffer from anxiety here in business for several reasons, right? And there's just too much to do all at once. And so what happens is when somebody lacks the skills, they start to feel anxious. Okay. Now, when somebody lacks incentives, what happens is that change that they're looking for starts to happen very slowly, a gradual change, right? And so what that means is frustration in business is like a negative feeling that occurs when your business experiences, change at a very slow pace. So what I mean by that, guys, is you hear me talk about your why all the time, right? So if your business isn't moving faster, if you're not getting to the goal, if your checks aren't coming in, if you're not writing enough deals, it's really tied to the fact that you're not incentivized enough, right? Now, how do we do that, right? How do we make that happen? Well, here with us, we give you the best pay that we can possibly afford. Obviously, that's based on production and earning as well. But for the most part, I'm 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 pretty satisfied with the pay that we give you guys, right? So then, if it's not the pay, if it's not the training, if it's not the resources, then it has to be internal, right? So I was talking to, I think it was Eddie yesterday, and I was like, man, trust me, I know what it's like to feel the pressure because I am the 100% sole breadwinner in our family, right? I don't have any backup plan. I don't have anything to fall back, right? And so my incentive is that I know what my motivation is, right? I know what it's like to lose everything, right? And some of you might know my story, but whenever I got into this business the first time, I saw a little bit of success on a part-time basis, quit my job, sold my house, went after it, and was dead broke in 1 year. Okay. Moved back into my parents' house. I remember borrowing money from my dad to pay my cell phone. Because if you don't have a cell phone in this industry, do you have a shot? Absolutely not. So the one thing I needed to make sure that didn't get disconnected was my cell phone. So I know what it's like. That's my incentive, guys. I am terrified of not having money. I'm terrified. And we are so far away from that place, but it still is what incentivizes me. So when I need to make a move and I need to make a change, it moves fast, right? But when you don't have a proper incentive, your movement, everything about what you're doing is slow. It becomes gradual. Okay. And the next is resources, right? If you don't have the proper resources, you just start getting frustrated, right? You start to get frustrated. And so what does that mean? I mean, I would assume that you guys all know what it's like, right? You feel like you get it. Man, I know what it takes. I understand what it's going to take, but I don't have the resources. Maybe that's training, right? Maybe that's more training like deep down, like Mara, I really don't understand how the illustrations work, or I really don't understand the ins and outs of the product. So I want to do the things, but because I don't have the appropriate resources, or I feel like I don't, then what happens is I become frustrated. Okay. And finally, if you don't have an action plan, right, what happens there? Right, you get what's called a false start. And that means that it refers to a situation where people begin with enthusiasm and excitement and momentum, but quickly stall out, right? And that's because they don't have a true and a good plan. They haven't done enough, like market research. They don't understand what it's going to take. They don't understand the your daily method of opportunity. We don't understand what are your RGAs, the revenue generating activities to focus on, right? I love what Karina does on a daily basis. She has her day regimented. She understands what days she's calling, what times of the days she's calling, and she keeps track of every single dial she makes. Now, what's cool about that, guys, is that if you do that over a long period of time, it's going to start to develop and create patterns and norms, right? So obviously, just like everybody, myself included, if I was to say to Karina, Karina, how many dials or how many hours does it take to get X amount of sales? Maybe not off the top of her head, but I bet you she said, "Oh, let me look at my numbers." She could go back and look at historical numbers and be like, "Well, it appears like every time I dial 85 dials, I get an appointment, or every time I get 10 appointments, I close two." Right? And so she can start to create a predictable business model. That's what I'm here to tell you guys. So many of you, and I know it because I'm having the conversations with you guys, are dying for breakthrough. You're like dying to just get to that next level. But there's something missing. Is it the vision? Is it the skills? Is it the incentive, the resources, the action plan, right? All five of those pieces need to be in place for you to actually impact change in your business. And that's why I thought this was very important to put in play today, guys, and to talk about. Because if you don't have a plan of attack, right? If you don't understand where the holes are in your game, you're never going to be able to impact and create that change that you want, right? And I know everybody here has huge goals. And I will say that everybody here, there's a couple of y'all that are like on the cusp, the precipice, like right there of just blowing the damn doors off your business, right? So when you get close, it's not your time to ease up. It's your time to put the pedal to the metal, to go even harder. But I don't want you guys to go harder with spinning your wheels. So that's why I want you guys to spend some time looking at this sheet and saying, where do I fall? Right? Maybe you start on the right. Man, I'm super frustrated. Okay. Well, according to this chart, you don't understand the resources, or you feel as if you don't have the resources. So let's spend some time looking and making sure you understand where all of your resources are, right? Maybe you're like, man, I just keep feel like I'm, starting and stopping. I get hot and then it falls off over and over and over again. Okay, well, let's take a look at your action plan, right? This is a very, very good way to tell where you fall. This can be you as an individual. This can be you as an organization. I'll tell you right now, as I look at this as an organization, we have a lot of false starts. A lot of people come in hot, get excited, and then they dip out. And I think it's because the action plan, right? Is it the action plan on the front end, like getting people out of the gates? Is it like the sophomore lull? Like, man, I got excited. I had a good freshman year, and then sophomore year, I kind of fall off, right? I'm not sure, but I can tell you that as at the firm level, at the agency level, I feel like we need to do a better job of. I need to do a better job of creating more of an action plan for you guys so you can stay busy and stay focused. So again, you can use this at the agency level. You can use this at the individual level, but very, very important if you want to change, take things to the next level and continue to grow your business, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And we'll do a quick round robin and we will be